So let's raise the big questions. The case against the Gandhis, is it therefore, as Mr. Chidambaram claims, political vendetta? Should the Congress be letting the law take its course? Is the opposition being targeted by central agencies? Let's look at the politics of it now. Pawan Khera, the Congress spokesperson, and Shehzad Poonawalla, the BJP spokesperson. Shehzad Poonawalla, you heard Mr. Chidambaram there. He's saying this is a bogus case. Not a single scheduled offence has been listed out. There is no FIR. How can you then go and proceed to interrogate, investigate under the PMLA in the absence of even a scheduled offence not being registered over the last 7-8 years? Nothing is there on paper, and yet the Enforcement Directorate chooses to grill Rahul Gandhi for 8 years.
What a sad day that we have
for 8 hours.
What a sad day that we have to take certificates from Robert Vadra and P. Chidambaram, the friend, philosopher and guide of corruption who transformed the FIPB into the Family Interest Promotion Board. But let me inform the learned lawyer, and I hope I get as much time as he was given, 20 minutes, but not that much. But still, Delhi Metropolitan Court took cognizance under section 403, 406, 420, 120B under IPC and ordered that investigation should start in these cases. Offences under 420 and 120B are scheduled offences under the PMLA as defined under section 3 of the PMLA. Unfortunately, the learned lawyer does not know that just cash moving in and out of the country is not PMLA or money laundering under PMLA, but also proceeds derived out of illegal activities, criminal activities is also defined, and therefore 420 and 120B also a scheduled offence under which this has been done. Now let me tell you the trial court's order that has been come out because of which this offence under PMLA is generated. From the complaint and evidence led so far, it appears that YI was in fact created as a sham or a cloak to convert public money to personal use by a special purpose vehicle for acquiring the control of 2,000 crores worth of assets of AJL, and since all the accused persons have illegally acted in consortium with each other to achieve the nefarious purpose and design, there are sufficient grounds to proceed against all of them. This includes the PMLA proceedings. Let me tell you, then they challenged this and went to the High Court. In 2015, the High Court held the modus operandi adopted by the petitioners in taking control of AJL via the special purpose vehicle YI, particularly when persons of Congress Party, AJL and YI are the same, evidences a criminal intent. Now after that, what happens? The All India Congress Committee, which is the All India Corrupt Committee and the All India Confrontation Committee, has not tell you that how the special purpose vehicle of YI was created, and for mere 50 lakh rupees, and by the way that 50 lakh rupees came from Dotex. They should explain that why a shell company which has been named by the SFIU was giving a loan of 1 crore rupees allegedly to young Indians. But this young Indians takes over this company of AJL. Now AJL was founded by freedom fighters, it was founded by people, and it had public property in it worth 2,000 crore rupees, and it had 5,000 shareholders. At 2010, when this matter was transferred, the shares were transferred, there were 1,057 shareholders, including Mr. Kajju and including Mr. Shantilal Bhushan. 1 second, don't interrupt. And those people have said that the transfer of those shares to young Indians, which had only 2 shareholders, 38% Rahul Gandhi, 38% Sonia Gandhi, was illegal. So here's the shareholder violation of Companies Act. I've already told you the violation of the PMLA Act. Now let me tell you, 1 second, sir, 1 second, don't interrupt. Don't interrupt, Rajiv, don't interrupt. Rajiv, don't interrupt. Thereafter that, the young Indians company started giving these properties on rent. They gave, for instance, the Passport Seva Kendra in the Bahadur Zafar area. Those incomes started coming in, and those incomes were taken fraudulently by Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. The income tax notice was generated for 100 crores, and that income tax notice was also challenged by a court, in a court of law, by Mr. Congress Party's lawyers in the High Court and Supreme Court. Both places the Supreme Court rejected it and the High Court rejected it and said that the income tax reassessment order is also valid. Now my questions to Mr. Pawan Khera, the honourable spokesperson, is one second.
First my question to you. You have not answered my basic question, that it is in 2015 that after a trial court takes cognizance of an income tax department probe against Young India Private Limited on the basis of a private criminal complaint filed by then BJP MP Subramaniam Swamy in 2013.
The complaint was filed in
2015, the ED till date has not registered a scheduled offence.
No, that's not correct.
Which immediately initiates an investigation under PMLA. So it almost seemed like an afterthought. 7 years later, you suddenly summon up Rahul Gandhi. What have you been doing for 7 years?
The predicate offence under which the PMLA investigation is proceeding is section 420, 120B, which was ordered by the Metropolitan Magistrate, challenged by them in a High Court, which was upheld by the High Court, and they said the trial must continue. Point number 1. Point number 2, the ED then has been proceeding in this matter. It in fact even attached the property in Mumbai belonging to the National Herald. They did not get any relief after they challenged it, or if they went to challenge it. Thirdly, I have 3 or 4 specific questions of Pawan Khera. 1, Congress Party is a political party. Donors give money for the political activity. How did Congress Party give for 90 crore loan to AGL, which was transferred to Young Indians and then waived off in 2012. 1 second, did they ask the donors? Point number 2, Young Indians shareholding only had 2 people, Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, and Oscar Fernandez, Motilal Vora. By the way, please tell me what happened to those 1,057 shareholders? People like Mr. Shantilal Bhushan. Mr. Shantilal Bhushan were raising questions about that illegal share transfers took place. Point number 3, I'm asking you, the question is that how did Young Indians get the money? It had only 5 lakh share capital. How did 50 lakhs come into that company to even purchase AGL along with the loan debt? Please tell me that 1 crore came from Dotex. Is Dotex a shell company? Yes or no? Point number 4, if they had good intentions, why did they not keep the shareholding of AGL as the same as the shareholding of YI? Point number 5, when the investigation is happening under ED, why is it that they are trying to obstruct it? Did they get relief from High Court? Did they get relief from Supreme Court? Did they get
your last point that you just made is probably your strongest.
And last point. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was the Chief Minister of Gujarat. You knew him well at that point of time. He was subjected to SIT grilling for 10, 12 hours. He did not take extra date. He did not say, I'll do confrontation. He did not do a tamasha. He did not do any drama. He went and subjected himself. What is this drama? Is this a pradarshan?
Your last 2 points, your last 2 points about the
satyagraha. Okay. This is a bhashtachar ka bhakti pradarshan, and I hope the tapasya of my dear friend Pawan Khera, at least in this bhashtachar ka bhakti pradarshan, materializes so that he gets something.
What do you have before you come to the studio every time? Because you're like the Shehzad. One minute. Shehzad, now, what you've said in your first part is subject to question. Should be part of an FIR which has not been registered.
And the Metropolitan Court has ordered it.
No, sir, it has not.
It has ordered. I can show you. I can show you.
Do not. Sir, Shehzad, the fact is, your first part is subject to questioning from both sides. It's part of an inquiry. Your second part, which is on the politics, is what I want Pawan Khera to address.
May I make you read the High Court order?
There is no scheduled offence registered as of date.
It is registered under 120B and 420. These are scheduled offences under PMLA. Under Section 3, you can register offences and proceed for money laundering. Investigation in this.
There are no charges as of today, even 7 years later.
No, you are wrong. You are wrong. I have a High Court order.
I have it here before me. My reporter.
Don't believe Mr. Chidambaram. He says he's not guilty in the other scams he's done. Why should I believe him?
Okay. Let Pawan Khera respond, go to the politics of it. Pawan Khera, the fact is that this is a case which is being investigated by Enforcement Directorate. Allow the Enforcement Directorate to carry on with the investigation without the political surround sound. Then it doesn't seem like a satyagraha, but seems more like psychophancy or an attempt to protect Rahul Gandhi. How do you respond?
Rajdeep, I will come to the political part of it. But Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla, आप जो कर रहे हो ना, ये इस तपस्या से आपको कुछ नहीं मिलने वाला उस पार्टी. Because you speak 1,000 words without saying a single sensible word. I'll tell you, Rajdeep, ask Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla to show you the FIR of the Enforcement Directorate right now on your show. बड़े रट्टू तोता बनकर आए हुए हैं ना यहाँ. उनको बताइए FIR दिखाइए ED की अभी यहीं आपके शो में. अनाप शनाप बोले चले जा रहे हैं. FIR कहाँ है जरा वो दिखाइए. Number 1. Number 2, ये कोटेक्स कोई नाम ले रहे हैं. Do you know, Rajdeep, this company belongs to the RPG group? Is Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla on your show openly saying that RPG group indulges into money laundering, has shell companies? Ask him. बिना कुछ, senseless question बोले चले जाएंगे without meaning anything. कुछ नहीं उसमें जो आप. Just because he speaks at a speed doesn't mean he's making sense.
Can you answer my? Meanwhile, we are getting just a minute, Pawanji. Pawanji, we are getting reports. I just want to give the break. I will let you speak. I will not interrupt you also. I just want to give the big breaking news that the Congress, that the interrogation is over, questioning is over of Rahul Gandhi. It's gone on for several hours, remember. The ED has concluded Rahul Gandhi's questioning for the day. We don't know when the next questioning will take place, but it's been stopped. It's over for the day, grilled for over 10 hours. Now, Pawan Khera, I return to you uninterrupted to answer my question about the politics involved. Is this about politics,
Rajdeep,
or is this about the details of the case? Go ahead.
Yes. Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla is making a virtue out of, अरे 2010 में मोदी जी अकेले गए थे. Now let me remind him, he was not even politically born in 2010 and I was there and I know what happened. Mr. Advani had personally stopped any other BJP leader from accompanying Mr. Modi because Mr. Advani wanted to downplay Mr. Modi, didn't want Mr. Modi to look like a martyr. हमें उस वक्त की पॉलिटिक्स मालूम है, आप उस वक्त राजनीतिक रूप से पैदा भी नहीं हुए थे, इसलिए मत मुझसे बहस करिएगा. डोंट मेक अ वर्च्यू आउट ऑफ इट. नोबडी वांटेड टू बी सीन विद मिस्टर मोदी बिकॉज अडवाणी जी नाराज हो जाएंगे. ये बात राजदीप मुझसे ज्यादा अच्छा जानते हैं बिकॉज ये उस वक्त रिपोर्टर थे। नंबर 2, कोटेक्स से लोन लिया, कोटेक्स को लोन लौटाया, व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम?
The English, please.
Yeah, if we took loan from Kotex, we returned it to Kotex. Where is the problem? Where is the illegality? Not one property of AJL was transferred to Young India. Where is the illegality? Not one penny was given to Young India, directors of Young India, in terms of salary, in terms of dividend, in terms of profit. Where is the illegality? Now come to the politics of it. Rajdeep, if these people have no moral courage to send the ED to that 40% commission minister of theirs in Karnataka, they send the ED to our doors without an FIR. We'll leave our leader alone. We'll definitely come out on the roads, protest peacefully and do our satyagraha. We'll stand by our leader. We are not like them. They had left Mr. Narendra Modi high and dry because they were afraid of Advani ji. Hamari party mein we don't get afraid of anyone. We stand by our leader. Your party is a divided party. Mr. Advani ji didn't want anybody to accompany Mr. Modi. We don't have any such problem. We'll fight for justice. We'll expose this government. They cannot treat ED as a private army, Delhi police as a private army, CBI as a private army, IT as a private army. I'm sorry, this is not the way governments function. And if you insist on running the government in this manner, of course we'll come out on the roads. Of course we'll protest. You can't
you have every right. You have every right. No, just a minute.
Use your agencies as bulldozers. You can't be allowed to use bulldozers. You see what we do to your politics now. You see how we expose your politics.
Is this a threat on national television?
No, it's not a threat. He's entitled. I don't think he's threatening you now, Shehzad.
No, but now, Rajiv, in the interest of fairness, because you've given Mr. Chidambaram a whole lot of time and Pawan Khera equal time, so you should give me some time to counter all the 8 points that Pawan Khera made. Please, Rajiv, people are watching your show in large numbers. They've seen Chidambaram get 20 minutes. They've seen Mr. Pawan Khera get some time. Let me also have that time.
To this debate, therefore I want to come to you, Shehzad.
Let me answer all these questions.
1 minute. Answer the question. You see, you've come prepared. I want to also ask you the question which we have prepared. One simple question which was raised by Mr. Khera, which is the reason for partly the political protest. It appears that the Enforcement Directorate is being accused of being used as a sword arm of the Modi government. Hemanta Biswa Sarma is being investigated when the ED, when he's in the Congress. The moment he switches sides, the investigation comes to a halt. Mukul Roy switches from the Trinamool Congress to the BJP, the investigation against him in Narda Sarda slows down. He comes back, again we are told the interrogation is going to start. The fact is, in case after case, Karnataka, serious allegations have been made against Mr. Yediyurappa, against his family. No Enforcement Directorate seems to step into Karnataka ever since the BJP there is in power. The question is, are we today suggesting that that's where the political protests are coming, that it is selective? You are choosing, 7 years later, the ED wakes up based on what was suggested in a trial court in 2015. No FIR has been produced till date. For all the things that you've said, I didn't stop you. Please show me the FIR with the specific charges against Rahul Gandhi that has led to this 9-hour, 10-hour investigation. Are you going to show it or not? Under PMLA.
Now, Mr. Chidambaram, Pawan Khera and you, all three have made the same arguments. I hope you give me 1/3 the time you all three have taken.
No, I have asked them the question, I will ask you the question. Please don't lump me with them. No, do not lump me with them.
But I have to if you're not fair.
I am very fair, sir.
So I hope your allocation of time should be... Now you have to stop him.
I need to ask a question to Shehzad.
Can I...
Yeah, okay, let him ask the question.
Rajiv, is this serious? You have given 20 minutes to Chidambaram. You have given him equal time as me. You put your own question.
Pawan Khera, I will ask you, I will let you speak.
People are watching
Pawan,
Rajiv. People are watching the show.
Pawan, I will let you speak after he has spoken.
I also need to ask 4 questions.
I will let you answer all the questions, but you have to give me time.
Go ahead.
No, and Rajiv, I hope you will
No, first Mr. Poonawalla. How can you allow Pawan, just a minute. I have asked him a question, let him respond to my question. Please put the toner down. I will let you ask. Don't worry. Go ahead, Shehzad.
Rajdeep,
answer my question.
Yes,
selective.
I am asking, first of all, selective nature. There was an observation and a finding made that agencies are acting as caged parrots. In which government? It was the UPA government. If 8 years we are using this selectively or not using it against somebody who deserves to be investigated, then why haven't they, with the spectacular lawyers like they had on this panel before, gone to court and proven even in one instance that we are using it selectively or vindictively? Are the courts of this country also vindictive? No, I hope not. So let's, does that argument.
No,
That
you
this
didn't
selective
answer my
argument.
question. Hemanta Biswa
I'm
Sarma
telling you-
investigated when he's in the Congress. Moment he joined BJP, all investigations seem to
Let's
go into
assume,
cold storage.
okay, now let me answer this specific question and let me move on to the more fundamental arguments of this case. I am saying that let's assume that we have shut his case illegally, which is not the case. Mukul Roy's case was also on, all the proceedings were on. If we have done anything unfairly, illegally, they have all the evidence. Why don't they go to any court of law and say, look, there is heaps of evidence against Mr. Hemanta Biswa Sarma, please prosecute him. They went to court once. You know which case? Rafale case. And you know what court said to Rahul Gandhi? They told Rahul Gandhi, please apologize unconditionally for saying PM Modi chor hai. And that is the track record they have when it comes to allegations that they put. Now let's settle that matter. Now you asked me about the FIR over and over again. Rajdeep, I am reading out to you the paragraph of the trial code. The trial code, there are two ways. Either an FIR can be registered or a criminal complaint is registered through a court. Mr. Subramaniam Swamy had gone to a criminal complaint to a court. The court had then ordered an investigation under those sections which are scheduled offences under PMLA section 3. Under that, the court has observed and the High Court held that yes, this is a cheating, criminal breach of trust, dishonest misappropriation and criminal conspiracy, and the trial court has concluded that there is a case of nefarious purpose and design and there is sufficient grounds to proceed against these accused. This is the basis of that matter.
Okay,
now,
Rajdeep,
you can't interrupt me.
Pawan Khera has a specific question.
Please let me make one more point. Rajdeep, one more point.
Yes.
Last year, I'm saying Mr. Chidambaram is saying there's no predicate offense, right? That's what he said. The learned lawyer tell me that in 2020, the ED under this same case attached the property of National Herald of AJ of this entire matter in Mumbai. If there was no predicate offense under which it was acting to attach properties, did Mr. Chidambaram in the last 1 year go to court and challenge it and say that there's no FIR in this matter? Please do not make these arguments. Now let me come to the
No. Pawan Khera, what's your question?
Where is the FIR?
I am on trial.
He has to answer a question. Pawan Khera, what is your question? You said, just as I gave Shehzad an opportunity to ask you a question, what is your question to him?
Rajdeep, when will the RSS show its account books? An organization which controls my destiny and yours.
Relevant question.
Let him finish.
Wait. My question. An organization which controls my destiny and yours does not have account books, does not have registration of its own registration, does not have its membership book.
How does that relate to Rahul Gandhi's case? 1 minute, sir. You were in power from 2004 to 14. Nobody stopped you from investigating the RSS.
This is an organization, Rajdeep, which controls my destiny today. For the last 8 years, they have been controlling the destiny of this country. What do you mean it's not relevant? Of course it's relevant.
Rajdeep,
how is it relevant to Rahul Gandhi's case?
Section 25. No, not a penny of profit or salary or dividend taken by Rahul Gandhi or any other director. I have given you every response to every question. I want to see the FIR first. Even if the court orders it, the agency has to then lodge an FIR on the order of the court. Where is the FIR?
Okay, can I ask you a simple question?
No, Rajdeep, no. Let me also place my fact and ask him a question. Can I not ask him any question?
Please give me the respect.
You are being eminently unfair.
Sir, I will ask you a simple question.
But you will allow me to then make my case also.
Yes, sir. Young India Limited is a Section 25 non-profit company. Under that, no dividend nor assets can be acquired by the Gandhis, even though they are major shareholders in the company. The charge which has been made by the BJP is that this is basically a company controlled by the Gandhis and the assets eventually will go to the Gandhis, or money is being transferred, money is being laundered. Where is that money laundering if it's a Section 25 company?
Yes. Now let me please answer this question.
Please answer it.
Please answer in detail. First of all, this allegation has not been made by the BJP. I am quoting to you the High Court order of 2015. The modus operandi adopted by the petitioners, Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi, in taking control of AJL via a special purpose vehicle named YI, particularly when the main persons in Congress party AJL and YI are the same, evidences a criminal intent. This is the basis. First of all, please understand one thing.
That's a court view.
Sir, please let me complete without interrupting. You will understand. First of all, it does not matter whether a company is Section 25 or not. I have studied law. If in that company, the beneficial ownership of a property can still, the proceeds can still go to somebody who should not be getting it. And that's exactly what happened.
Where are the proceeds of a crime?
I am telling you, if you stop interrupting me. The income tax has found in its order that the money that was being received from these properties, which were meant to be running a newspaper, were given to a passport seva kendra, and it was going into Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi's pockets. Therefore, the income tax said, you have not disclosed this. 1 second. Thereafter, after this was challenged. This was to the tune of 100 crores. It was challenged in the High Court and Supreme Court, and they got no relief because that income tax reassessment order stands even today. So they have usurped the wealth which belonged to freedom fighters and to the public on their own. They have not transferred the ownership of it, but they have got beneficial ownership of it. Let me please complete, sir. Then after that, the modus operandi was that even in young Indians, first of all, he's calling it Kotex. Kotex is a sanitary brand. It's not Kotex, it's Dotex. He does not even know the facts.
No, that's okay.
He does not even know the facts.
These are all small. Let's not get personal.
Cover fire. No. He does not even know the difference between Kotex and Dotex. It is Dotex company which gave 1 crore rupees to these young Indians. I have 3 specific questions of Mr. Khera. I am asking 3 specific questions. One, if there was no FIR and all these properties were being attacked, I don't need to carry an FIR of ED. The ED is doing its job professionally. It doesn't leak the FIR to a party spokesperson. This is the professionalism of the agency today. My question number 1 is, if ED was attaching properties without an FIR last year, did they go to court? Point number 2, 1 second. Point number 2. Please tell me that AJL had 1,057 shareholders. You gave 90 crore loan to AJL. That loan was then transferred to Young Indians. Young Indians started the business of real estate. It had only 2 major shareholders, Rahul Gandhi and Sonia Gandhi. Shareholders like Mr. Kaju and Mr. Bhushan were saying that this was an illegal transfer. Is that transfer illegal or legal? Thirdly, can Congress party give the loan to a company which is doing real estate business via this method? Fourthly, please tell me the income tax is showing that the money that was received from these properties went to Rahul Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi. Is that not fraudulent use of the money that was generated by this property?
We must be very fair with the facts. No, now you've asked the question. Let him respond. Pawan Khera, prima facie, while you can argue on the basis of where is the FIR constantly as far as the PMLA is concerned, the income tax in the trial court had raised several serious questions over the manner in which this transaction had been done. The manner in which a company is acquired with large amounts of assets, the manner in which it is not reflected in the income tax records of the concerned individual, these are questions that have been asked. The Congress must answer those questions as per the law, as I would as a citizen. Why do you need to hit the street?
Now, you cannot invoke the income tax case to influence a discussion on the PMLA case. The income tax case is being dealt with at the appropriate level in the Supreme Court as of now. So how can you bring that in to try and win an argument on PMLA?
I'll tell you.
Fact of the matter is, even if the court has ordered you to lodge a complaint, you must as an agency lodge a complaint, and the agency doesn't have to share the FIR with the spokesperson, but with the client, with the person, with the accused, with the lawyers of the accused.
So you asked this question of Rahul Gandhi, not of me. Chidambaram is asking Rajdeep. Chidambaram should ask Rahul Gandhi.
Please do not interrupt.
No, don't interrupt. That's not fair.
Chidambaram should ask Rahul Gandhi where's the FIR, not me.
No.
Go ahead. This is not allowed.
Yeah, Pawan, go ahead. Mr. Khera, go ahead. Mr. Khera, go ahead.
You speak like a bulldozer and demolish all facts.
You come unprepared, you have no facts, and therefore I bulldoze your rhetoric. Don't feel sorry about it.
This is now news with noise. This is now news with noise. Go ahead, Pawan Khera.
And you can't interrupt me. If I
answer the central question, Pawan Khera. The income tax trial court did suggest that there were elements of this transaction that needed further investigation. Allow the agencies to investigate that, and doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani.
Sorry, agencies have a code to follow. They have rules to follow. The Enforcement Directorate in this case must lodge an FIR, share that copy of the FIR with the lawyer of the accused, and then we can talk about it. There is no FIR. There is no FIR. Just because there is a court order, that court order is not enough for the agency. The next step has to be taken. I also understand my law. Mr. Shehzad Poonawalla has a selective understanding. I have a proper understanding of the law.
It's important.
Okay, I have allowed you all both to get excess time. I will give you a final word before you otherwise tell your social media friends. Just a minute, that Rajdeep was unfair to me. I have calculated the time that 2 of you have had. You've of course gone like a train. Mr. Chidambaram was there because the Congress has more. Sir, the Congress has more to answer today for.
He was not answering, he was dictating.
Sir, my simple last question to you. Is the BJP also, just as the Congress will have to answer question, is the BJP ready to answer the question of the selective use of Enforcement Directorate in a straight manner, not in a golmaal manner of whataboutery? He even said that the RSS should be investigated for its accounts. Your response.
You know, the RSS is an organization that works for nationalistic causes, and if between 2004 to 14, if they had any evidence, one second, Rajdeep, now you're allowing
No,
me to
Pawan,
into
you
my
can't
time.
interfere. No, Pawan, wrong.
Biggest enemy of this country. That's
No,
a subjective
that's
opinion.
your personal
You are
political
allowing
view.
this.
I've
You are
asked you a
allowing
question.
this.
No, I'm not allowing
My
it.
social media followers, Rajdeep,
Pawan Khera's voice.
I challenge
Pawan,
him.
you cannot intervene in him.
my social
Yes,
media,
go ahead. Final 1 minute. I have exactly 1 minute and then I need to take a break.
My social media followers are intelligent people who are observing this entire debate, so I don't
Yes.
need to tell them anything. Point number 2, the RSS, if they felt was doing anything illegal or anti-national, instead of inviting them for a Republic Day parades, they should have banned them in 2004 to 14. That's not the central question. The question is that let's assume what Pawan Khera is true for a moment, which it is not. If Pawan Khera is saying there was no FIR and this entire matter was going on, in the last so many weeks, months, have they gone to any court of law and said that the ED is proceeding in this matter because Mr. Motilal Vora and Mr. Oscar Fernandez were not investigated in the same matter by the ED? Is that not true? Did they ever go to the court and say there's no FIR, why are you investigating Mr. Oscar Fernandez? This is a cooked up argument Mr. Chidambaram is making right now. And thirdly, the income tax order is also a central basis of this investigation. The income tax order proves a criminal offence of 420 and 120B, which is the predicate offence of PMLA. And by the way, the income tax order was challenged by them and they got no relief in High Court and in Supreme Court. Pawan Khera, tapasya mein puri nahi, aap facts puri kijiye, tab aapko kuch milega. Tapasya to puri hoti rahi hai.
चलिए
राक्षसों की पूजा से तपस्या नहीं होती, छोड़ दीजिए.
I challenge Mr. Khera one thing. I challenge Mr. Khera one thing. One thing.
question.
One second. One challenge. One challenge. One challenge. If he stops articulating, I'll give him a challenge. One challenge. One challenge.
Pawan Khera, what is the challenge?
The challenge is that what argument Mr. Chidambaram made on your show, that there's no FIR, I challenge Mr. Khera and Chidambaram to go to court tomorrow morning and say that this entire proceeding was illegal and you illegally question Mr. Rahul Gandhi. Do it! Do it! Do it!
Okay, you want to answer, Pawan?
Yes, who is he to dictate our legal strategy?
Oh, look, then where will you get relief from? Rajdeep's court or from court of law? Sorry for that.
Okay, gentlemen, I need a new life. I need a new life because I have spokesperson now. Pawan Express versus the Shehzad Express. Let the viewers decide. By the way, Rahul Gandhi has been called again tomorrow by the Enforcement Directorate.
But all in good faith, sir.
Just a minute. Thank you very much, Shehzad Poonawalla. Let's leave it there.